All right, good evening, everyone. We are on to our 76th episode of Book of Hours, our first run on YouTube, playing as the artist. And if I get my times correct, this will actually be the last day before Christmas that we're doing an episode. So I would have loved to have taken the playthrough to winter to show you the tree by Reverend Timothy's house, but we actually had a lot to do, so I don't feel like the time was poorly spent. But I did want to mark the season. I know statistically, when I say statistically, I just mean based on the historical trends, most of you will actually probably be watching this far into the future. But I still don't want that to diminish my enthusiasm for wishing you all the best. And I'm really looking forward to sharing the next half hour with you. So the plan for today is going to be to finish off the Inks of Revelation in anticipation of moving into autumn. We are going to be able to probably finish off Elopolis Nook, and then my intention is to get to the jail kitchen, but maybe I'm going to have a little bit of there's going to be a little bit of fancy footwork in terms of working out the best way to get there. I want to be able to use Mrs. Kill to get some memories, but I also want to be able to make the most of the day. So let's carry on. I also still have some tea left over, so I am feeling very good. Right up until I spill it on myself. All right. We will persevere. All right. Mr. and Mrs. Kill. Mrs. Kill is the Mrs. Kill, the midwife, is tall and gloomy. Mr. Kill, the undertaker, is slight and wry. For 10 years she has drawn villagers into the world, and he has shaped cradles for their departure. But she can also whittle, and he can also paint. So we want to use the lower of the two Arab in this case because we're going to use the higher level Arab to level up Mrs. Kill. Mrs. Kill's mood always improves when I drop by. Mrs. Kill stands ready to help. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. Now, there's a bit of a balancing act that's going to be happening. So essentially I need 5 memories for the Inks of Revelation. Now, the ones that Mrs. Kill will be able to give me will be Impulse, Revelation, Foresight, and I think that's it, actually. So there are 2 that we can generate on our own, which are not going to overwrite what she does. That's going to be the Bittersweet Certainty, and then the Sight. On top of that, I can also make a name day riddle. Now, we'll wait to see what weather we get, because it's possible that the weather will be something that... it's possible that the weather will be a, something... I'm trying to think, like, clouds for lantern, or even a sunny day for that matter. So with Inks of Revelation, it's actually more likely that the weather will help us than not. But we don't need the metal for now, so I am going to do my fixing and mending just so I have some options in terms of restoring some elements of the soul. And then the good news is that in addition to checking out Elopolis Nook, we should have some leftover elements of the soul to catalog the 2 remaining books. So again, today should be a pretty good day of unwrapping gifts. So there's not much work on offer in Brancrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. And in fact, we can examine one of Levinson's paintings, again at night. And for that, let's use... I guess it doesn't really matter out of any of these, but let's use a shaft in this case. Investigate this object. You won't use this up or consume it by doing this. And I don't want to go nuts with... Yeah, I'm going to use the core. Just if I can, it would be nice to use these other elements of the soul to be able to do things like beekeeping and checking out Crowcross Sands. So we will read Glimmerings again. It's a little lumpy in terms of... Oh, great. So Sunny Day is something we can apply to Inks of Revelation. What I'll do here with the Name Day riddle, if I need to... Mrs. Kill stands ready to help. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. Mrs. Kill has seen more of the world than she usually lets on. Conversations with her yield the occasional surprise. Now, I probably should have used the Arab with her right away. I don't think I want to rely on her giving me everything that I need, so I think I am going to make the name day riddle. That means that actually my tryst doesn't need to get occupied, so I can give up whist for that, I suppose. But I would need to make sure that I do so at a desk that allows for knock. There we have it. Well, no, but that doesn't... I am suspicious, but yeah, that doesn't work. But the vagabond desk probably will. I shouldn't have given up that shaft. I worked myself into a corner here. Shucks. Well, it's not the end of the world. We'll just do a good old-fashioned tryst and edict's liminal. We'll add the gossip. Add the gossip. There's the name day riddle. We'll take care of the rest later. This is why there's always the tension whenever you're doing a video to like really plan through things. Like, I don't know how many of you like Phantom Brigade, but the Phantom Brigade video, Brace Yourself was really nice about it, and they said they quite liked it, but it was interesting to see some of the people on Steam react because they were very, very impatient. And it's a turn-based strategy game, right? I don't think they realized it was a turn-based strategy game, or maybe they just didn't like the video, but there is a dilemma that you have whenever you're doing a video where you need to try and keep things moving. But when you're trying to work out a plan, you do actually want to take the time to work it out. And that's not unfair, right? Book of Hours is not exactly a game where you just rush through everything. And the whole point is that you can take the time and work out your plan. On the other hand, I don't think anybody's going to want to sit down and see, half-hour video of me figuring out what I'm going to do, and then have the next half-hour video be me like implement it for 10 minutes, and then the remaining 20 is the plan for the next day. So but the consequence of that is, that shaft probably could have been used to get the name day riddle. Now, did that really change anything? Not really. It would have been nice for me to hang on to some more things that would have been helpful for, checking out the other locations. But again, it's just small little inefficiencies like that, which I file away in the back of my head to try and not do again. But you never know what your needs are going to be, right? Like, I can't tell you what the next books that I need to read will be, so I'm not always able to diagnose what the future problem is. Like, the one thing you don't want to do is fight the last war and leave aside something that you needed for the previous book, because just given the number of aspects that there are, it's very unlikely, well, not very unlikely, but it's less likely that you're going to have to do the exact same thing again. All right, Again at Night, one of Dr. Levinson's prefigures, a close and impossible copy of a painting made 20 years earlier by Kirchner, whose work Levinson often anticipated in his mirror dreams. Watchful? Hungry? Both? So there's a site for us to work with. Now we're going to leave aside the Levinson works for a little while. Again, I need to figure out exactly how I want to balance things with Mrs. Kill, but we'll see how things go after this first round. Okay, the Solace doesn't really help me here, so let's start with the Arabs. So my pride will find an echo in theirs. I am hoping for the satisfaction. So the thing is, I do want to load her up with her boosts, but I also want to be conscious of the fact that I don't have that much time in the day to be able to use all the things that I intend to. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. So doesn't really matter which of these two, but we'll bring back the nettle. It is summer. I'm sitting on the bench outside the Sweet Bones, eating crumbly cheese and nettle wrappings and good black rye bread, soaking up the sun. All right, so here's our bittersweet certainty, remembering we need 5 of the memories, so we only need 2 from Mrs. Kill, whether those are... And in fact, we're already making the name day riddle, so we really just need 1 memory from her, and hopefully one of those memories will be satisfaction. We'll see. Let's keep working on this. Mrs. Kill has seen more of the world than she usually lets on. Conversations with her yield the occasional surprise. So what we're doing here is saying, okay, we're going to have a clear breaking point at midday, at which point I'm going to start loading her up with the spice scales, the other, all the other elements that we're looking for. And then if I have to generate satisfaction, I can read a book for that. But my hope is we can avoid it. Okay, hindsight doesn't help. Is this the way to the wood? But perhaps the wood is not a suitable place for a librarian. We're getting close to a point where I want to start making some decisions. Better now. So one thing I might want to do is think about, let's think of an ideal situation. So there would be 2 elements of the soul. In fact, I can already start employing some of these, I think. So let's say we'll set aside a Faust so that I can level up Inks of Revelation. Now let's say the worst case scenario is that I actually need to use 2 elements of the soul to generate a memory for Mrs. Kill. So we could use the metal there. And I guess in this case we would use the whist because the whist isn't related to any of these other tasks that I want to perform. Yeah, actually we're in pretty good shape here. So let's go and say... So I need heart, rose, and scale. Heart, moon, and rose. Well, we know there's one thing for sure. The beehive is always going to require health, so we'll start with that. And I guess it doesn't really matter when it comes to the fet or the core, so we've got the fet for beachcombing. And then we'll employ the core for a walk on the moor. Clamber up the long reaches of the moors behind the village. Lean into the wind's fluttering fist. If I know what to look for, I might find something among the rocks. It's not quite ready to give up on using Mrs. Kill's memories, but I do need to prepare a contingency for loading her up. Okay, Memory Storm doesn't help. We'll maybe do 1 more of those. Oh, I should be bringing back elements of the soul. So I will bring back a core. So ideally it's 2. 1 for each book. And then 1 more for the painting. It'd be kind of nice if I could make a Ruby Wise Ruin as well. Oh, okay, there's the impulse I needed. So that frees up 1 of the elements of the soul. Oh no! Let's try that again. At last, I'm something of an authority in this. Okay, so one of the things I want to do right now, let's think about what we're going to need to level up Mrs. Kill. So we've got the collaboration. We've got... Oh, did I not give her the spice scales already? Okay, so I'm actually going to work out the timings on these things. So 30 seconds for the memory, 30 seconds for the drink, 30 seconds for the tool, She's currently at 5. So the drink will add 4, which brings her up to 9. We need 12. Tool will bring her up to 10. The memory will bring her up to 12. Okay, so we need 90 seconds. I can comfortably do at least one more conversation with her. But I may want to start getting serious about when I'm generating memories. I've likely shut off the possibility of bringing back a Ruby Wise Ruin today, now that I think of it. Brilliant. Okay. That could not have worked better for us. The skill is now level 6. Its power aspects have also increased. Inks of Revelation, the inks in which the histories are revealed. So this is likely going to help us with some of the other texts in Ava's library, but we're not going to worry about that right now. What we are going to worry about is making the most of the rest of the day. So we're going to start by talking about the scales. Spice scales, redolent of decades of piquant passage. I can lend my assistant something to help increasing their abilities. You'll still be able to use this tool. Better now. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a quick look at resurgences and emergences and desires and dissolutions. So I don't think this will allow me to make a Ruby Wise Ruin, but let's not... Oh, well, okay, there we go. Beguiling Melody. Resurgences and emergences with Prentice level Grail creates a beguiling melody. For a scholar level recipe, if I add fabric, I can hum the faintest life into a little cloth doll. Excuse me. Desires and dissolutions. So we've not yet discovered what's required for a... Well, if I add a flower, a mixture that will become intoxicating. So I don't want to use the satisfaction for this, but let's experiment. I'm going to lose my mind if I don't have this flower. Yeah, so Cat's Claw, Moth Orchid, Lenten Rose. I think Lenten Rose is gonna... I'm gonna have some serious words with myself, I think. History Plant, Trumpeter's Lily, Honeyscar Jasmine... Cat's Claw. I don't think I even remembered the name. Fragrant Chalice. Well, if I want it, now's the time to get it. Crumbs. Okay, well... I think this is probably already ruled out, but let's at least verify the recipe that I think I'm making. So we just need a flower. We don't necessarily need the flower. So Lenten Rose will do... Oh! I actually don't need that much. Cool. But yeah, we do have the ability to make another Ruby Wise Ruin. So I'm going to sneak in a Fragrant Chalice while I can. We might be able to... Oh no, that comes in autumn, so I don't need to freak out. Okay, so this is actually something that my Arab can help me with, but the problem is that I think we lose it. No, we'll be fine. Okay, so if that's the case, Arab Desires and Dissolutions is 9. The Lily will do. So Tuppence will buy me a hearty meal in a quiet place where I can rest and gather my thoughts. That was more thinking than I needed to do there, but I'll take it. Moving on. Let's start by cataloging the books, and if I have something left over to do in Elopolis Nook, I'll worry about that later. So this time I'm risking the metal and the whist, but that's just because the core is something that I need for the recipe. So, oh wait, no, I don't, because the recipe. Oh, that's right. Okay. In that case, I am going to do some gardening. Gather the scented blossoms of the fragrant chalice. Catalog a book with metal. This book was probably written around the time of Hush House's nocturnal period, after the turn of the century. If I examine it, I can learn more about what knowledge it might contain. Books from this period are almost never contaminated. The only thing we didn't get done is kind of tranquilizing Terrence and the wild viper, but we'll have that taken care of before too long. Unexpected finds in the folds of the earth and sky. We've got another wild viper. Don't make any sudden moves. We'll just put that in our pocket. That's the best thing you can do with a wild viper. Sea-strewn, salt-snared stuff. I don't think we have any room for Ava's locks. So I'm going to put that in the... I should find a better organizing system, but for now, we'll put Ava's locks on one of the shelves in the cucurbit. And what else do we have? Oh yes, the honey or beeswax. Honey! So, do we even have any room in the pantry? We do. Honey and mackerel. Combination everybody keeps asking for. So I don't need more than one viper, but we'll put them beside each other for now. They don't get along. Okay, well, we'll just keep you in inventory. This tool's boosted their aspects appropriately, so we're going to have another chat about satisfaction. I can discuss a memory with my assistant. And then the Ruby-Wise Ruin is the final item we'll take care of. I have an idea of this book's nature and its contents. The locksmith's dream, portions and proportions. So this is quite a simple sky text, the second volume of the Galmier work. And we will consider the final nocturnal book. I think we should be fine with the sweet bones. I don't think I can bring back an element of the soul. I'm just trying to think if there's a 30-second... Well, the 1 30-second thing I could do would be... checking out Elopolis Nook. So memories don't last long outside books, but it's made the difference for the day. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is feed her Ruby-Wise Ruin. A ruddy liquor wrung from flowers, even when the flowers aren't red. A nice drop. I can offer my assistants something to drink. This will increase their aspects. They'll also be glad of the refreshment. That gives us the 12 grail that we need to unlock the jail kitchen, the Wormnod kitchen. This kitchen has clearly been penetrated and polluted by worms, the parasites of the sun. The worms are long gone, but the kitchen will need scouring. It will need decontaminating, and then it will definitely need all of its food throwing out, even if it's tinned. Better now. Okay, so I'm really cutting it close on the timing, but I'm going to use... Actually, you know what? I'm going to use the Arab in this case. Tuppence will buy me a hearty meal and a quiet place where I can rest and gather my thoughts. The reason here is that I'm not going to miss the Arab if I get it resolved late. And the Queens of the Rivers. So that's another quite simple scale text for me to handle. All right, let's see what I can do with the flowers. So we take Desires and Dissolutions. I'll take the Lenten Rose. Yep, brew a Grail liquor. So it's 90 seconds, but we should still, like, it should just take us halfway through the nighttime, so we should be fine there. And that's actually good to know that we've got a big Grail boost. I don't think any of these other ones require Grail, but it's just nice to know that I have the option if it comes down to it. Down to the Grushins. I suppose I could have kept talking with her to get a memory that I might have employed tomorrow, but honestly, we've got plenty of books. I don't think we need to worry too much about, what might be on the other side of the day. I'm going to guess there's no room for these flowers. Well, that's what I get for assuming. Night has fallen, dawn will come soon. So again, we're cutting it pretty close, but I think we're going to be able to read, to hear those voices. Levinson prefigure a copy of a painting that would not be committed to canvas by the real artist for 20 years. And with 44 seconds, we should also have our Arab back. Now, it doesn't really matter. I suppose there's a small argument that the memory storm could be employed for Locksmith's Dream, but let's face it, I'm not actually using that. Although even the hindsight's not really required. Yeah, we'll take the memory storm. Now that night has fallen, I can rest and perhaps dream on the day's doings. It's maybe a little reckless that I'm doing this with the Arab here, but I'm already bringing it back, so might as well get my money's worth. Better now. So investigate the object. And I suppose the way I can think about this, right, is that we've got 30.4 seconds, so either both of these are going to be available or neither of them are. So, and I was pretty confident that I would be getting the Arab back, so I should be equally confident. Well, actually, it's both Arabs, so. But yeah, I should. If I was confident about getting this one back, I should be confident about getting this one back. Yep, plenty of clearance there. So. To hear those voices, Levinson prefigure a copy of a painting that would not be committed to canvas by the real artist for 20 years. Kirchner, one of Levinson's favorite pre-subjects, Kirchner and Levinson fought in the Great War on opposite sides, but there is no reason to believe Kirchner had anything at all to do with Levinson's death. So we also have new Ruby-Wise Ruin with Keeper level Grail. Ruby-Wise Ruin is a precursor to the Sacrament Callicite. So that's helpful to know. I don't think we're going to be getting... Well, actually, to be honest, given that we could get 10 already, adding the Ruby-Wise Ruin gives us 4. So with the right turn, we're actually probably pretty close to being able to make the Sacrament. We don't need it, but... It's nice to know that that's a possibility. Okay, and we finished Elopolli's Nook. It's a Christmas miracle. Elopolli's Nook, Christopher Elopolli, poet, painter, archivist, ruiner of seances, stayed on for a while at Hush House after the Great War. The librarian, Serena Blackwood, arranged for rooms for Elopolli in the Motley Tower, ostensibly so he could help with the collection, but perhaps also because she saw a potential ally against the governor of the Kukurbit. Relations between the Kukurbit and the house were badly strained at the time. Now, I don't know if we have information about... I don't know if we know if it's Numa yet. It doesn't seem like it will be, but The jail kitchen. There are no hours at Brancrug, callers used to say, even before he was governor of Brancrug Jail, when he was only secretary vigilant of the Curia. By way of reminder, the hands were confiscated from every timepiece within the prison walls. The warders could still rely on the chimes of the great clock and the abbey spire, but it did make life harder for the cooks. So one of the reasons I was kind of excited about this is less to do, like we don't get any books or anything like this in here, but we do have bowls, kitchen bowls, cake time, power, pulverized grains, bread's precursor, elderflower cordial, rosehip jam, blackberry jam, Eigengrau. All of these, it's not bad. You know, skin shuck meat is also nice to have. It's got a high moth level to it, but this is a new kitchen range. So the jail kitchen range has scale, lantern, nectar, and grail, whereas this one has scale, heart, nectar, and grail. So for, I think this one actually winds up helping me out with some lantern, or some like Inks of Revelation in the past, I think. So just a nice option. And then we've also opened up another possibility here. So we've got the Ravaged Cellar. This room too has been visited by worms, the abomination of the relict kind, but almost no traces remain. So 13 Forge, 13 Scale, or 13 Winter. The most likely candidate here would be the Winter with Mr. Kill, but I am definitely going to need to work out my priorities there. So I think probably we're going to focus a little bit more on Denzel moving forward, but we'll see. I don't think Autumn really gives me all that much. I believe this is the time that we get the Orchard Keepers. So good for nectar, but we don't have a whole lot nectar-wise that we're focused on. Like 10 nectar's not bad, but where's the rest of it coming from? We've got 2 from an earth sign. I suppose in an absolute pinch, we have the Sacrament Malachite. But then that invites the question, okay, you use that once, where do you get the rest of it? We don't know. So probably not a good idea to give that up until we have a clearer idea of the future steps. But again, I've got enough to keep me occupied that I don't need to worry too much about it. I suppose the question would be, do I want to bring in a member of the Kills? Not clear to me that I do. So we are done for today, but seeing as we're getting close to Christmas, let's say it's some extra time for a gift just to organize the day's plan. So we will be reading the Locksmith's Dream Portions and Proportions, the Queens of the Rivers. So the Chandler's Wish, we've got 7 with Inks of Revelation, so that can move up to 9 with Faust. So we're 9 of 12. 10 with the Mirror Scope, at which point we add a memory, so we are good with the Chandler's Wish. I don't believe we've changed with the Radical Measure. I think we're still stuck with the rose that we had before. So we can move all of those along. Now the secret colors, this one's a bit sneaky, because it feels like we have lots of moon until you actually look at it. So Inks of Containment and Desires and Dissolutions are the 2 here. So I would need to find 9 moon. And I get 1 from the Tryst. There is a somewhat powerful moon memory. And if I could get that helps. In fact, if we got that one, we could probably go up to 11, 12... be rolling the dice, but again, getting that is a big question. So now surely the second glory should be available to us now, because Quenchings and Quellings is a higher level. So, well, still a bit of a reach. So we go from 6 to 8 with the 6 to 8 with the Whist. We don't have a tool that we can employ. So then I would need to find 4 Winter. We only get 2 from a memory. Now we could try and see if we can get a Winter Ink, which I haven't really been taking advantage of yet because I have other options. Parabate definitely does not do the trick. But we could also get lucky with the weather. So I'll put that on the desktop. Focus of Amber, I think, is too ambitious in terms of sky. I don't think we're even remotely close to that. So we'll just leave that aside. 16 Forge is similarly ambitious. Yeah, all of this is really, really hopeful. So the last question would be, what am I looking at with scale? 4, 5. With the memory, we'd be up to 7. So we're still 5 short. However, I do know, and in fact the contents of this book tells us about a way that we can improve things. So I will move this closer. But these are definitely, these are definitely nice to haves later on in the playthrough. I don't think it's realistic for us to expect what's coming up. So let's just before wrapping up the day, I think it's clear that our attention's going to be spent on these various books. Let's see what the weather brings. And it's a cloudy day, so I carried a memory like a flambeau, safe through the mazes of night. So, with the weather being what it is, I think what we'll do is we'll probably commit to reading the Locksmith's Dream, the Queens of the Rivers, and the Chandler's Wish all in one go. I do need to generate a memory for the Chandler's Wish, but that shouldn't be the end of the world. And then depending on who stops by with the Affair of the Particular Mystique, remembering we need Vac and we need Sabazine for our current list of languages. But we will see who the visitor is at a future point. Oh, I should also probably at some point review these texts. I didn't even think about those, but I've kept you long enough. That's going to be a consideration for another episode. Thank you everybody for watching, and of course I will wish you both the best of the season and a very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a good one. For those of you who may be at loose ends, and I know that's true for a couple of you, what I've normally tried to do on Christmas is to do a broadcast. Now it's always tough for me to figure out when on the day that will be, but if you... I don't want to take away from time with your friends and families, of course, but for those of you who might, find the day a little empty, I will do my best on Christmas Day to try and put something on, and that normally happens on Twitch. But if I have a chance to do it on another service, we'll look into that. But overall, I am looking forward to catching up with all of you on Monday, Boxing Day, for those of you who know what Boxing Day is. Until then, take care and have a good one.